Example 6, the derivative of a cost function. A manufacturer produces bolts of fabric with a fixed width. The cost of producing X yards of this fabric is C equals F of X dollars. First thing we want to do is, what is the meaning of the derivative of F prime of X? So what is the derivative of F prime of X? Well, the derivative of F prime of X is the instantaneous rate of change of C with respect to X. Economists call this rate of change the marginal cost. And so therefore, F prime of X is equal to the limit as the change in X approaches 0 of the change in cost divided by the change in X. And so now what we want to do is we want to determine the units. So what are the units? Well, the change in cost is measured in dollars and the change in X is in yards. So it follows that the units for the derivative, F of X, are dollars per yard. So let's take a look at part B. In part B it says, in practical terms, what does it mean to say that F prime of 1000 is equal to 9? Well, basically what we're going to say here is that after 1000 yards of fabric have been manufactured, the rate at which the production cost is increasing is $9 per yard. That means that when X is 1000, the cost is increasing 9 times as fast as X. Now, since the change in X is equal to 1 is small compared with X is equal to 1000, then we can use the approximation. So the approximation of F prime of X would be the change in C over the change in X. And so when X is small, then we know that that approximation is going to be the change in cost over 1, which then becomes the change in the cost. And so we can say that the cost of the manufacturing the 1000th yard, or the 1001 first, is about $9. Okay, let's take a look at part C. It says, which do you think is greater, F prime of 50 or F prime of 500? And then what about F prime of 5000? Let's take a look at the first one. Okay, so the rate at which the production cost is increasing per yard is probably lower when X is equal to 500 than when X is equal to 50, which is the cost of making the 500th yard is less than the cost of the 50th yard because of economy of scale. So the manufacturer makes more efficient use of the fixed costs of production. So we would then say that F prime of 50 is greater than F prime of 500. And so what about F prime of 5000? Well, as production expands, the resulting large-scale operation might become inefficient and there might be overtime costs. Thus, it is impossible that the rate of increase of cost will eventually start to rise. So it may happen that F prime of 5000 would be greater than F prime of 500.